All right. Hey everybody, my name is Sam. This is Levi. We are playing a Rhinar versus Azalea matchup with Levi's updated top 8 Road to Nationals build. This is a pretty entertaining matchup to play sometimes. Sometimes it's not very interactive. So it kind of falls down to how my Blood Rush turns play out and how much momentum he can consistently throw dominated arrows at me. So there is a lot of variance in the matchup, but not quite like with Chain. It's more so about how the hands line up against one another. He runs a lot of defense reactions, so if he has those within the turns that I play my Blood Rushes, that can swing a lot of the tempo. But damage is very important in this matchup, and blocking can also be pretty big, bringing him to fatigue. But other than that, I think it's a pretty entertaining matchup to watch. What do you think about it, Levi?
Yeah, I think, it's an interesting matchup. It really just comes down to if I'm able to send a threatening arrow prior to your Blood Rush turn. If you can line up a Blood Rush turn when you don't have to block, it's going to be a bad time for me.
Yeah, so we'll see how this game goes. Other than the Command and Conquers that are in my deck and his, that's about the only on hits that I have to threaten him that actually he cares about. So if I can start off early game with Command and Conquers, or if I can get into them while he's trying to set up, that can be really bad for him in terms of allowing him to maintain tempo. So I'm kind of hoping for that. I'm also hoping that my Blood Rush turns allow me to push through a little bit more damage than what he's able to block. So I'm kind of hoping that I can start off with some good tempo. So let's low roll 3.
Low roll 3. I got a 15.
I got 11, so I'll go first. So my ideal opening hand would be a red Barraging Beatdown and an Alpha Rampage that I can trigger. And I did not draw that hand. So I'm just going to opt to roll my scabs because I don't really care. And that's a 6, which is great, but not really relevant. So, I'll pitch 3 to do a claw for 3 with 1 floating.
So I'm going to go ahead and block 3 with the red in the ledger.
Okay. And I will pitch 3 again to do another Mandible Claw.
So you've got 2 floating.
2 floating, yep.
So this is a lot of potential to go well or poorly, but I'm going to go ahead and pass block and then go to defense reaction.
Okay.
Using a take cover to arsenal.
Okay. I'm kind of happy about that because I can go to 1 resource with a Savage Swing, pitching a Cadaverous.
Okay.
And I'm going to intimidate his last card and come in for 6.
All right, and I will take 6.
So that's not bad. Starting off with a 6 damage lead is pretty decent. I didn't get an Arsenal, which isn't the biggest deal with Rhinar. He can still play without an Arsenal pretty effectively. So we'll just see how he cracks back at me.
Yeah, so the big reason I did that, typically I would like to hold on to cards to do that, but it was a Memorial Ground, which wasn't blocking anyways, so I figured I'd throw it in the arsenal. I'm going to use the Cross Wrap to opt. I'm going to go ahead and leave it on top. Now, let's see how this turn lines up. I'm going to go ahead and play the Memorial Ground that I have in my hand to put a red in the ledger on top of the deck.
Okay.
I'm going to activate Azalea's ability, moving red in the ledger into the arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
I will then play I'm going to play a Take Aim.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to pitch 1 to come in with a red in the ledger for 8 with Dominate.
Yep. So not much I can do about that. I'll block for 3 to take 5.
So I opted to pitch the Nimblism. It's a little more versatile than the Take Aim, and the reload isn't usually that relevant, and I wanted to be able to arsenal this card.
So for my turn, I'm just going to play a Wraparound, pitching a Beast Within. Beast Within activating. It's getting a Smash Instinct, so I lose 1.
Okay.
And an Intimidate on 1. It's coming in for 7.
I am going to say no block.
Okay. So I feel good about that 7 damage, but I don't feel good about the fact that he's probably going to do a lot more. So I will Arsenal and pass.
So my tuning's going to go up. I wanted to have a relatively big turn here. So I'm going to opt with the cross wrap. And I'm going to choose to leave that on top. I'm then going to play Plunder Run. Followed up with a Ravenous Rabble, revealing a Sigil of Solace on top of the deck. Coming in for 7 with Go Again. If it hits, draw a card.
Yeah. I can't really do anything about that. He's definitely going to have more to swing at me, and if I was to block, it would only be to block to stop his draw, but he's definitely going to be able to keep swinging, and I don't think I'd be able to stop everything, so I will just take the 7.
Alright, and that is exactly what I wanted to hear. That was best case scenario for me. So I am going to follow that up with a Take Aim, using the effect to reload. I am then going to play Memorial Ground and stack the red in the ledger. Activate Azalea, moving red in the ledger into the arsenal. And then I'm going to pitch 1 and come in for 8 with Dominate.
So seeing 3 Memorial Grounds in the first 2 turns is relatively good, especially when they're spaced out like that.
It's actually really bad.
It's bad, but...
If I didn't have the red in the ledger, turn 1 to block with.
Yeah, but you were able to recycle it, and he's able to boost. You were boosting, right, last time?
Yeah.
And he's had Take Aims to boost, so he's having a very, very strong opening turn. Both turns have been very strong. I just have to block for 3 and take another 5. So the only good news is about all this is that he doesn't have an arsenal, which is good. So I can actually swing back a little bit with an Alpha Rampage for 9. Intimidating 2, so 4 and 3. 9 damage isn't bad. And with my skill, I probably hit both defense reactions, so I feel pretty good about that. Yeah, with all my skill. See, and that's the one good thing about Rhinar. Obviously, it's variance, but you limit your opponent's options, and Azalea does not like having her options limited, especially for blocking. That's why he runs so many defense reactions, but those don't do too well when they're plucked from the hand.
Right, because these 2 cards together make a strong turn. But if I block with them, I no longer have that. And so, unfortunately...
And this kind of goes into that level of variance that I mentioned before the game started.
Yeah. I think I have to take 9.
So that's good for me, but it's also not, because now I'm also worried that he has what those other 2 cards are going to do for him. So
Not as much as I'd like.
We'll see.
Alright, Tunic is going to go up. I am going to pitch to activate Death Dealer, move red in the ledger into the arsenal and opt.
Yep.
I will then play a yellow Ravenous Rabble, revealing a Remorseless. Coming in for 3 with Go Again.
I will not block, and I'll take 3.
Alright, I'm going to play a red Ravenous Rabble, coming in for 4 with Go Again.
Yeah, pretty strong.
Alright, I'm going to activate Azalea, moving a Remorseless into the arsenal. Then I'm going to use the Tunic resource to come in for 5 with Dominate. No defense reactions from arsenal.
Yep, and this is where I'm going to block for the 5 with my Skull Cap, actually, which is great.
It's a bit unfortunate that I had to play out the Rebels, because I already had a card I wanted to arsenal, so I got to turn on his Skull Cap there. Not the end of the world, though.
Definitely not. So I'm going to pitch 3 and play a Blood Rush, which is excellent. So I'm hitting my Cadaverous and intimidating a card. So 2. and I draw up. Draw 2. Man, extremely unfortunate draws. So I'll swing with Claw for 5.
I'll pass block and then defense reaction of Fate Foreseen for 4, opting, and moving to the bottom.
Okay. And I will... I think he's at a point where his health is low enough where I want to try to force out more damage if possible. This hand was horrible for that, which I drew into with the Blood Rush. I have this Smash Instinct arsenal, which we know, which I did because I wanted to have that extra draw to dig deeper to find my Blood Rush, which I was able to do, but now this is stuck, and it's a pretty horrible card to have in Arsenal unless you're drawing heavy with blues, which I was hoping to draw into at least 1 yellow or a blue, and I drew into 2 reds, which is pretty bad. So I'm either stuck between pitching 1 card and using my Tunic to play a Pack Hunt in hand, pitching both reds and the Tunic to play the Smash Instinct from Arsenal. Both are really bad. One allows me to save the Smash Instinct, and then the other option would be to throw a Claw and save my other card in hand, which I think has value, but I'm still stuck with this in Arsenal. So I am in 3 horrible predicaments, knowing that he has a defense reaction in Arsenal as well, which makes it even worse. So my Blood Rush is pretty subpar and not what you want to see at this point in the game. So I think I'm going to have to just go for the safe route. And you know what? Nah, forget it. I'll pitch the Sink Below and I'll play the Pack Hunt for 8 and I'll intimidate a card. 4. So I'm throwing 8 damage at him. I wouldn't do this usually, but it's getting close to that point where he's going to be getting into a health range where he's going to have to care about his health.
That's not the card I wanted him to hit, but my turn is fine otherwise. So I'm going to go ahead and block for 3.
Yep.
And then defense reaction of Fate Foreseen, opting a card.
Yep.
And leave that on top. Yeah.
So I threw away my Sink Below, which could bite me, but I had to at least apply some pressure, I feel personally, in this situation.
So on my turn, Tunic is going to go up. I'm going to pitch 2 for Death Dealer, moving Searing into the arsenal, floating 1. And I will then follow that up with a Searing Shot for 4.
And I will block for 4.
All right. I'm going to Arsenal a card and pass the turn over to you.
Okay. Tunic goes up. You know, I really just want to get this card out of Arsenal, so I'll pitch blue to play Smash Instinct. 1, and then coming in for 6.
Weird turn. I am going to block for 3.
Okay.
3.
And I will then Arsenal a new card and pass.
All right. On my turn, Tunic is going to go up. I'm going to use the Cross Wrap to opt. I'm going to move it to the bottom. I'm going to play a Ravenous Revel, revealing the top card as a Remorseless. Coming in for 4 with Go Again.
I'll block 3 and take 1.
All right. Now, I think it's still worth to use the Remorseless. I'm going to go ahead and activate Azalea, moving Remorseless into the arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play a Nimblism.
Yep.
And then pitch one and come in with a Remorseless for 8 with Dominate.
Okay. So Remorseless for 8 with Dominate makes my next turn much more subpar than what it could have been. I'm still stuck in a pretty bad situation. I think I just block for 3 and I take 5.
All right. And I'll pass over to you.
Okay, Tunic goes up, and then we play Command and Conquer. Now, I would have liked him to Arsenal a card, but he can't use defense reactions. So he either has to take 6 or use cards that he actually wants to use. So it still puts him in a bad situation.
This may be a bit greedy. This might be the safer play. I think I can make do with my Tunic resource next turn. So I'm going to go ahead and just block for 6.
Okay. We're fine with that. Go ahead.
Alright, Tunic goes up. I'm going to spend the Tunic to activate Death Dealer, moving Ridge Rider into the arsenal and drawing. Ridge Rider effect opt. Now, It's a bit of an odd line I wouldn't normally do, but I think it lines up well here. So I'm going to go ahead and activate Azalea, moving in Lightning Strike into the arsenal.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to E-Strike for 7.
Okay. That is not the end of the world. That is not too bad at all. It is not good, though, because we are getting low on health, and I don't like all that damage. I could use my equipment, but I might want to save that equipment for something more potentially life-threatening. But I also don't want to have to give out a card in my hand, but then I also don't want to take 7 damage. So I could be safe and throw a card from hand to block, or I could just be a brute and take it and hope that my next turn is going to be bananas, which has the potential to be bananas, but he has a card in hand, which could be a defense reaction, which would severely hinder that turn. So I think I don't think I win this game by playing it safe. I think I have to go for it next turn. That could be come back to bite me, but this is a scenario where the hands line up, and I kind of want to play it out at full power. So I could go down to 3. 4, I go to 5. At least that's a little bit safer. That gives me a little more headroom. But I want this turn. He's at 14. You know, we're going to go for it. So I'll block for 1, and I will take 6.
Alright, I'm going to Arsenal a card and pass the turn over to you.
Okay. Our tuna goes up. I pitch 3 for a Blood Rush.
Okay.
A lot of this is going to come down to some variance, odds, evens. Okay, I hit a Massacre, which is okay, I guess, for... I would have maybe liked to have that in hand versus what I have. Okay, actually, I like this. Claw for 5.
I think I need to take the safe line here, which is block 6.
Okay. Claw for 5.
Take 5.
Okay. And then I will pitch the rest for an Alpha Rampage, hitting that, intimidating your last card, coming in for 11.
So in response to the attack, I'm going to play a Sigil of Solace, gaining 3.
Okay.
And that's coming in for 11.
Yes.
I suppose that I am taking 11.
So that was not great. I really did not want him to have that Sigil. I was hoping I'd be able to just kill him there. But he only has 1 card left in hand. Azalea can't do too much with 1 card in hand.
Yeah, you really want to.
So I feel okay, but I do not feel amazing. So go ahead.
Alright, start of my turn, I'm going to use the Cross Wrap to opt.
Yep. So the good thing for me here is he doesn't have a resource to activate his Death Dealer, which is what he would need to kind of threaten me. He can play the Plunder Run, but that other card in hand can't really do much at this point.
Yeah, it's exactly Searing Shot that would be really good here. But unfortunately, that is not the card in hand. Because then I could Bracers into the arsenal and come in for 8. I'm going to go ahead and activate Azalea.
So he's going for it, which is the right play.
I mean, I knew what it was.
Oh, okay.
And then 5 dominate. But he was able to hold onto his stab skin, so it doesn't do as much as I would like.
Yeah, so block for the 5. Yeah. Now my turn comes around, and I play a Yellow Barraging.
Oh boy.
So 2. And then I use my Tunic